Hi everyone, we've all seen DIY projects that have gone horribly wrong, and today I wanted to have a quick chat with you about a recent will DIY matter that went quite badly for a particular client. We were approached by a family to help out with a homemade will. The deceased in this case had executed a number of wills, starting off with homemade will kits, and then the final will that he actually executed was a handwritten will that he'd prepared himself. When we saw the will, we understood exactly why they were having a number of issues. The first one was the will itself was handwritten, so it was actually quite difficult to understand the provisions and work out who the intended beneficiaries were. It also didn't appoint an executor. That's not fatal in itself, but it does make the application process a little more complicated and add more time and expense to the process. The big issue that we had here though was that the will wasn't actually executed properly. There was only one witness to the signature. Under the Wills Act, there actually is a requirement for 2 witnesses. So there were a number of issues that we were facing. Because of those complications, we had to go through a series of processes with the court, which including getting consents from beneficiaries, both of the final will and also of the earlier will, to get their consents to apply for a grant of letters of administration for that final will. We were quite lucky in this case in one way, in that all of the beneficiaries were actually adults. If we'd had beneficiaries that were minors, we would have had to go through an even more complex process with the court to get the court to consent on behalf of those minors. In the end, we managed to get there. We got a grant of letters of administration for one of the family members to administer the estate. And once we got that grant, I had quite an interesting chat with that person who'd been appointed as the administrator. And the one piece that came out of that was the deceased actually wanted to do the will themselves to save time and to save money. The practical takeaway of what he's actually achieved was that the process itself took about 12 months instead of 3 months. It caused the family no end of stress, and it probably cost the estate about 5 times the amount as it would have if the will had been properly prepared and executed. It's one of those classic cases that we see where clients sometimes want to do things themselves, but it's also a classic case of why you shouldn't DIY when it comes to your wills. Speak to you again soon. Take care.